I'm a 3D artist, and in this video, I turned Minecraft's most undercooked mobs into the most outrageous boss fights I could think of, and even got a real mod developer to rate them from 1 to 10. And we're starting with the Witch. There's a lot of boss potential here, but this hat, it's gotta go. So I started making this slightly larger hat with a curved brim, and if we put it on the head, we can see that it's still too small, isn't it? I ended up making 3 different hat sizes to figure out which one seems roughly boss sized. I don't want to have to texture too much, but the big one does look really cool. Fine, I'll do it. For the rest of the body, I'm going with a very American level of thickness. We've got the giant dress, a giant nose. The hair is turning out to be the most complicated part of this model due to its degree of curvature in comparison to the original mob. And well, that's about it for the model. Now I just need to texture all that. Why do I keep making these huge models? I'm thinking gray hair, black and purple dress. For the skin tone, I'm thinking somewhere between XQC and Voldemort. Yeah, I split the dress into multiple cubes so it can have 3D layering. The inside has this blocky purple gradient, but the outside is this fancy black lace material fabric. I don't know, man. I mean, the lady's like 1,000 years old. She's lost her mind, probably can't even see. So why is she still dressing so fancy? Well, that's because it looks cool. At first, I wasn't sure about this, but between the size and the age and the insanity, I was finally able to create your mother. Just kidding. My mom watches these. I can't make jokes like that. Love you, Mom. So this is the Elder Witch. It's a pretty unique boss because it fights using only potions. As you can see here, she starts dancing all crazy, and then 3 big bottles get summoned out of nowhere, and you got a few seconds to run away at this point before it starts raining down on you. The actual potion effects used here are completely random. They're pulled out of this giant list. Blindness and nausea are probably the worst for this fight, so they're a bit more rare than the others. But other than that, what you're gonna get is kind of up in the air. She can also summon 1 big gongo potion if she really wants to. I would recommend avoiding getting hit by this since it hits you with 3 random effects at the same time. It's really easy to end up withered and poisoned and slowed and blinded and weakened and just everything all at once. So prepare to have your entire inventory full of milk. It can be hard to get damage in too since she's constantly running around and teleporting, but you can shoot the potions right out of the air. So there's this 2-second window where you can give her a taste of her own medicine. Now who's afflicted with every effect in the game? Huh? Well, still me, but misery loves company. The triple shot is a bit harder to nail down, but I can't really describe how satisfying it is sniping a poison cloud right out of the air at the last possible microsecond before it hits you. After taking enough damage, she starts spawning positive potions to heal herself as well, which have green particles instead of red so you can tell them apart. Shooting these out of the air doesn't really help you though, so you've got a couple options. You could run up close to get her to teleport, which might drop it on you instead, but there's this little detail about these potions I neglected to mention earlier, which is that you can fishing rod them out of the air towards yourself. Yoink. These old things have 3 different random positive effects on them, which can make the rest of the fight a lot easier if you actually manage to do this. It's kind of hard. This is one of the most chaotic boss fights I've designed in a while, but I'm feeling nice today, so she has a chance to just fall asleep in the middle of the battle, which gives you a wonderful opportunity to get some damage. Oh, no, she's up again. All right, be that way. With that, the fight itself was pretty much done, but if I'm gonna impress the mod developer, we need some way to actually access it. So I got my friend Nikjal to build this offensively elaborate witch tower that can spawn in the swamps. The concept for this was an upgrade to the witch hut, but I think it's several layers beyond that at this point. There's a lot going on here, but it's basically a magic school, which I guess makes her Dumbledore. Here, let me give you the tour. We got the grand entrance. This is the foyer, and what does every foyer need? The amethyst dome. Here's where we keep all the spawners for the spawner classes. Forget about the boss fight. Just making it through this tower is going to test your patience with the amount of witches and random goons scattered around this place. But if we look at it from a distance, that looks crazy by the way, you'll notice this water outlet on the side, which you can actually swim up and skip a few floors to the aquaculture room. I don't know what they're doing with these fish. Probably not good things. On this floor, we have the library and the second library. This here is the potion room, but I can't help but feel there's a disconcerting lack of potions. So I whipped up these 3D potion models real quick and check it out. Potion in hand, whoop, and it's on the ground now. They said it couldn't be done. You can stack up to 3 at once in the same block, and they even keep track of the correct potion color so you can kind of tell them apart. Just make sure you pick them back up one at a time, because if you break it with your fist, they'll explode like splash potions. Jumping on them also breaks them. Isn't that just a crazy concept? It also works with empty bottles and water bottles and XP bottles, and if you break them, the XP explodes all over the place. Now that's a potion room. I think would also help the rest of the building if we just add a bunch of these all over the place. And there's a lot more in here just because it's so tall, like the classrooms. There's this secret entrance to the side tower that has this scenic bridge. This is a scenic bridge. Holy, this is a great spawn. But the real meat and potatoes here is the principal's office, because that's where the Elder Witch resides. No furniture up here. The IKEA guys, they didn't want to deal with the staircase. I can't say I blame them. Plus, furniture is pretty expensive these days. So is also everything. Thankfully, this video is partnered with Whatnot, the #1 live stream shopping app where you can buy, sell, or auction literally anything, and they're helping me give away $500, which I'll explain in a sec. They've got everything from your typical categories down to Pokemon cards, sports cards, electronics, tools, Legos, even snacks, meat, seafood. Wait, seafood? How does that work? Oh, sick. Yeah, they weren't kidding. How it works is dead simple. You just join one of the live streams hosted by the seller, who you can ask questions to directly. Bidding on items is as easy as swiping. For me, on the other hand, I got a little too into it and I found myself simultaneously monitoring 4 different live streams like I'm on the Wall Street floor, just so I could get $8 off of My Sims for the Wii.
Is that an Irwin drywall saw? I've gotta have it!
And it only cost me $1. So use my link or scan the QR code on screen to get $15 off your first purchase anywhere on the app. Plus, if you follow me on Whatnot, you'll automatically be entered to win $500 in Whatnot credit. That could get you like 3 different game consoles or something. But that's enough of that. Let's get back to the video. This fight is already pretty hard, so putting it in a constrained space like this really adds another layer of hostile game design to the mix. But if someone finally does manage to defeat this wonderful creature, the rewards had better be worth the effort. So here's what I'm thinking. Big bottle. Huh? You can put it on the floor. It also does some more stuff, but for that you're gonna need the mixing stand, which is basically like a, wait, this is the old model, which is basically like a brewing stand except flipped upside down. And if you got 3 potions and a flask, you can combine them together into a big potion that you can drink 3 times before it runs out. The amount of inventory space this saves is pretty ridiculous, and you can even use completely different potions and it will combine them together so you get all 3 at once. Here's a concoction: instant damage and instant health. Ignore the night vision. Yeah, I'm onto something here. And I think this opens the door to special recipes based on which effects you mix. Like, what if jump boost plus jump boost turn into levitation, or speed and strength turn into crit boost, or something completely new? Just like the regular potions, you can put these down for decoration, you can jump on them and it does the thing. The color of the flask is the average of the potion colors used to make it, and you can even see how full it is when it's on the ground like this. The Elder Witch drops the mixing stand, which opens up this entirely new system and connects to the fact that she actually uses these things in the boss fight. And it's a great reward on its own, but it's also the only way to fight the next boss. For my next boss, I'm redesigning the Evoker, and I'm starting with the same basic model shape, except way taller, like one of those wobbly noodle guys you see at a car store. Step 1 is to research the base mob as much as possible to make sure I don't miss anything. For example, did you know they can change blue sheep into red sheep? Only blue to red though. Could this be part of the boss fight somehow? I don't know. You can always count on Minecraft fans to make the hardest fan art reference material you've ever seen. Also to make shipping fan fiction out of literally everything. I do know what I want though, and it's giant eyebrows, a cape with 7 different layers, giant balls of energy on the hands. See, these audacious shoulder pads are what really makes this unique to me though. I'm picturing a Viltrumite Homelander kind of character. I mean, dude should look basically... For the texturing, I have this vision where this is the dude on the Raid Omen effect texture, hence the crazy eyebrows. The scar is new. Feels fitting though. This is the most complicated cape I've ever made for a Minecraft mob. I love the collar. It's like straight out of JoJo Siwa's Adventures. All of these details and edges are gold to match the original design. Is it too similar? Shirtless maybe? Huh? No, what? Now we just add the orbs, make sure the summon pose still works, and with that, we gotta move on quick because this guy's pretty complicated. This guy? I can't think of a name either. I'm gonna have to rely on the infinite wisdom of my YouTube comment section for this. So this is the guy, and he only has 1 attack, which may sound simple, but it's actually one of the most difficult bosses I've ever made. Maybe the Revoker, like he revokes your living privileges. He just kind of floats ominously towards things he doesn't like. That list includes everything, and pretty much all he does is throw these spell orb things, but this is where it gets really complicated. There's 4 different throwing patterns ranging from 1 to 5 projectiles per attack. These blue orbs are the damage dealers. They hurt real bad, but as long as you don't get hit by 3 at once by standing directly under him like an idiot, you should be completely fine. But they have a chance to be replaced by these red summoner orbs, which transform into something else as soon as they hit the ground. The vanilla evoker summons Vexes, but this guy has 3 different summons that are picked randomly every time a red orb hits something. Vexes are obviously the most common, but there's also these heat-seeking evoker fangs that follow you around for a while. You can't kill them, but they do disappear after like 20 seconds. Here's a new one. These little bundles of joy are golems of undying. I know it just looks like a living floating totem of undying, but that's actually exactly what it is. This is one of those easy models. You just take the copper golem and just go ahead and amputate all of its limbs. And the cool thing about golems of undying is that if an enemy mob dies within a city block of this thing, it gets the totem of undying effect, and the golem loses about a third of its health, meaning it can protect 3 things until it dies. Unless there's another golem. Just kidding, it doesn't work like that. The worst possible thing is when you kill the boss without realizing there's a golem somewhere and its health just starts coming back. There's a limit though, it can only summon 15 mobs at the same time, which you can see from this armor symbol on the health bar. What's that for? Well, I'm glad you asked, because the more summons it has, the less damage it takes. Let's say you decide on a Tuesday afternoon to deal 6 hearts of damage. If there's 5 summons out, it does 4 hearts instead. 10 summons would be 2 hearts, and if he's maxed out, forget about dealing any damage, because at this point he's... The good news is the summons get less likely depending on how many are out right now, so barring a major skill issue, you probably won't ever see 15, and there's even these enchantment letters connecting the boss to the summons so you always know where they are, and you don't end up with a raid situation where you're running around a mountain with a bell for 15 minutes trying to find the last witch that's invisible in a cave somewhere. And speaking of raids, Raid Shadow... No, I'm just playing. But since this is like the Pillager High Priest, it would make sense to me if it was connected to the raid system somehow. So here's the plan. Normal raids happen when you drink these ominous potions things, but if you mix 3 of them together in the mixing stand from earlier, you get the ominous Chug Jug instead, which you can gulp down to start this outrageously difficult endgame raid. And after getting skill checked into oblivion on the final wave, you can finally fight the person. Still don't have a name. If you do manage to beat this entire raid, you get the same Hero of the Village effect that the normal raid gives you, except it's a higher level version than what you normally get, which gives you better discounts and more gifts, and it's whatever, you know, it's alright. The real reward isn't something you get, because after the raid, every single villager in the area gets a new effect called Inspiration, which makes them randomly unlock 5 new trades from their profession that they don't have yet. Because the best reward in this game is the one that lets you not have to re-roll villagers for half your playthrough. Maybe I'm just biased, but I would rather get defenestrated by this boss 10 times in a row than deal with these frustrating troglodytes ever again. But that's not even the cool part. All these trades they can get come from a special set, which includes trades that don't even exist. Maybe the cleric could trade totems of undying. Maybe the cartographer could get more types of maps. Locking these behind a boss fight might be a little mean. I think it's fine though. But it doesn't matter what I think, because my time was up and it was finally time for the mod developer to judge my work.
You know what? Maybe I'm just a sucker for structures that are really big, throw a bunch of enemies at you, and then just put you in a room with a cool boss. I thought it was very cool. It felt a lot like a Legend of Zelda boss, which I really liked. It worked around fighting players with like ranged and melee playstyles. I thought that was super cool. And plus the mixing stand. The mixing stand is awesome. I love mixing my Minecraft potions, and it saves so much inventory space since you can't stack anything. I think the only thing I would change is maybe lower the number of witches, because I don't know if that's livable in any sense without like 10, 15 totems. I would say 9 out of 10. What is not to love about this boss? I really liked the fact that it had the summon system being both how much armor it has and something you need to keep watch for. But I really liked the fact that you have to stay on your toes and keep watching for how many vexes are out. If there's a golem of undying that's being used by the evoker, you have to keep your head on a swivel trying to make sure you didn't let anything get loose. And I really liked that. Plus the inspiration effect is just, it's a dream for me. Genuinely, I would make no improvements. I really liked that boss. Final thoughts? 10 out of 10. Genuinely the most fun I have had fighting a Minecraft boss. I have no notes. I loved it that much.
With that, I was successfully able to impress the mod developer, but this isn't over until it's 10s every single time. See ya.